Hi, I'm Mike from Triple P's Personal Protection Provider. We provide home protection in the form of AKC registered boxers, which are arguably the best home defensive canine out there. More importantly, I am a CCW instructor here in the state of Missouri. And as a CCW instructor, I've been asked quite a bit on what firearm I would recommend somebody carry. Obviously, this is a very difficult question to answer, especially if it's someone I don't know that well. And I'm not, accustomed to their shooting habits and basically their overall physical well-being to begin with. I mean, it's kind of a personal decision, and the point of this is to review different firearms as I go along here that I've either had a lot of experience with through someone I know that owns one or one that I carry myself. Today we're going to discuss the Bond Arms Derringer, which I do carry almost on a daily basis as a secondary concealed backup. Okay, I'm also going to discuss the VAD driving holster, which they designed for this particular Derringer. And I really would suggest if you're going to get this type of firearm that you would get this holster because they kind of go together. And if you don't get one with the other, you're really not going to get the best effectiveness out of your firearm. Okay, my particular Derringer is the Snake Slayer model. They make different models with different barrel lengths. I went with a 3.5-inch barrel because I used to have a 3-inch barrel and I couldn't fire certain shells out of it because it wasn't quite long enough. So I did get the longer barrel. I also got the extended pinky grip because it gives you a little bit more control, although it does hurt the concealability a little bit. This particular model also fires the 4510 long Colt. It is empty, as you can see. It also fires the 410 gauge shotgun shells. You can get it in 22, but unless you're just using it for plinking, for self-defense purposes, I would suggest you stick with the 410 or the 357 type barrels. Okay, for those of you who don't know the difference between a regular shell and a shotgun shell, basically a regular bullet fires a single projectile out of the end of the gun, whereas a shotgun shell fires multiple projectiles out of the gun. We're going to talk about the triplet butt because, in my opinion, if you're going to use it for self-defensive purposes, you should probably buy the ones that are marked triple-aught buck. That's the biggest pellets you can get for it. That is going to shoot multiple pellets out the end of your gun. Bird shots are very small. Buck shots are large. Okay. If you're going to buy the shotgun shell, I'd also suggest that you go with getting Federal. There are multiple brands out there. Winchester makes one that mixes it. They don't get very good penetration power. Remingtons don't get very good penetration power. As far as I know, the only shell that you can get that's mass-produced would be the Federal. I'm sure there's some specialty rounds out there that are going to run you pretty high dollar to get. But as far as something you can go to Walmart or your local gun shop and pick up, Federal's probably going to be your best bet. It's marked Federal hand shot loads in triple-aught buckshot. The reason theirs are better is because they use a fast burning power, whereas most of them use a slow burning power. Obviously, if it's slow burning, but you have a long 18 to 24 inch barrel, you're fine. But when you're only using a 1-inch to 2-inch barrel length for it to get up to speed, you need something that's going to burn fairly fast and get that bullet up to speed, which Federal, to my knowledge, is the only one that does so. And now to get into the actual gun, it's basically a fairly well-made gun. It's all stainless steel. It seems to be made out of pretty much one solid chunk of metal. It's pretty heavy, but it is well made. I haven't really had any problems with it not functioning properly. It's easy to operate. It's got some basic features. One of them is the crossbolt slide right here. This little button, you can push it back and forth to turn this. It pushes a bar in front of the hammer so the hammer doesn't drop. And hit the firing pin, which is that little knob right there. It also has an internal safety, which, as you can see, the hammer will not hit the firing pin unless I pull back the trigger, and then it's free to hit the firing pin. So it's a fairly safe weapon. It's got a neat feature about the crossbolt safety is that you can either lock it on or lock it off. And the factory doesn't really suggest that you ever lock it off, but they do suggest that you can lock it on if you have a small child around. The key to unlock it, though, is very small, so keep in mind, even if it's locked off, it's safe. However, it's probably not going to be very effective for you in a quick need situation because the odds of you being able to unlock it with such a small key under a high-stress situation is very low. I've got my crossbolt safety locked off because of the holster that I carried and kept pushing it on, and that will cost me my life. Not something I would recommend you do, but I'm comfortable doing it because most of my guns don't have manual safeties. They have the safety such as this one that is internal, and they're just automatically on until I pull the trigger. And my holster keeps the trigger from getting pulled because of the way it's designed. Okay, this little lever right here pops open the barrel and you can push it up, and then you can just simply drop your shells in like so. Very basic, very easy to use gun. Anybody can use this firearm, even if there's someone that doesn't shoot very often. Now, some things to note though is it is a single action, which means you have to cock it before you fire it. Unlike the Ruger LCP or Taurus TCP, which a lot of people carry, that you can just pull out of your pocket and just start popping off rounds. This one is not designed so. You have to cock it, which does take time and it does take physical strength to be able to cock the firearm. Another thing of interest is the trigger. Most guns you push the trigger straight back, which this one is very difficult to do so. You almost have to pull it down as much as it goes back, as you can see, because of the design of the firearm. Let me go ahead and say here that I do carry this in a holster. If you're going to carry it in your pocket, which I do once in a great while, I do engage the safety I'm going to carry it in my pocket. I unlock it, I slide the safety over, and then I place it in my pocket, because it is a possibility it could somehow come cocked and something loose in my pocket to get it. I'd strongly recommend, if you're going to carry this in your pocket, which you'll see it's not real comfortable to carry in your pocket anyway, because it is slightly heavy and bulky firearm, then I would suggest you get an in-your-pocket holster. They're fairly cheap, $10 to $15 from Mike's, or some local gun shop's going to have the brand that you can use. They're not real pricey. Now we've discussed the gun, you're going to see now in a second why you should probably get this holster. It is the BAD box driving arm holster designed just for this. It's made of all leather, and it does have a snap that goes over the hammer. The gun itself goes directly into the holster. As you can see, it's been wet molded so that it fits the design perfectly. As you can see, I explained earlier, I cannot pull the trigger, and it also has this which holds the hammer down. So carrying with the safety lock, as you can see, I'm fairly confident that nothing's going to make this gun go off. What's unique about their driving holster is that this strap right here actually loops over your belt, so that when you carry it, it fits right here, so that when you sit, you can stand up. This is one of the sole reasons that I purchased this firearm, is because of the massive amounts of carjackings that we're having going around now. And with your regular gun over here, it's extremely difficult to pull it out and deploy your weapon from in your car, because your belt's there, and your seat belt and everything else, you just can't get it out. This is right here, you can pull it out, and it's very easy to deploy. And his head's right there where I can blow it off if need be. Hopefully he runs away when he sees the gun come out, but if not, I'll take the action necessary to defend myself and my family. And that's basically what this gun is designed for, is to stop carjackings. If you're going to buy this and use that holster, that is a move that you need to practice to make sure you're proficient at it. I've probably done that particular draw several hundred times, because it is something you do need to practice, getting the hammer back while you pull the gun out. And I would suggest buying snap caps so that you don't damage the internals of your gun, so that you don't put too much stress on your firing pin if you're going to do so. All in all, I would strongly suggest getting this gun if it's going to be a secondary concealed carry weapon, as mine is. And here's the main problems. First of all, you're using a shotgun shell, which shoots in a cone-type pattern, real close towards me. The further I get, the more it spreads out. 10 to 15 feet is about all the effective accurate distance you're going to get. Now, granted, I understand 10 to 15 feet is pretty much all you're probably ever going to fire in a self-defensive type situation. However, in the case of the lady at the church last year, where she had to start firing 30 feet away to stay alive because he had an assault rifle, I'd hate for this to be the only gun that I had on me. Second of all, the fact that you have to cock the trigger, okay, that's not a big deal for me because I have fairly strong thumbs. However, if you're someone that has a weaker hand, you can't do that. This is not the gun for you because you can't get it done effectively and quickly. The last is the two-shot problem. Two shots is two shots, and there's multiple situations where people have been robbed by more than one individual. And I hate to be armed with a firearm that only has two shots. Overall, good firearm for secondary concealed carry purposes. Definitely would not recommend carrying it as your primary. Hope you guys found this video informative. If you happen to be in central Missouri and you do need a CCW or someone that does, just go ahead and give us a call. We'd be more than happy to help you